Hello, everybody. It's me again. So, for today's topic, we're going to be talking about echo chambers and what we call the psychological phenomenon of the hive mind. Okay, so let's first try to define what the echo chamber is first. An echo chamber, okay, an echo chamber is basically just a metaphor, okay, a metaphor that people use in order to describe the phenomenon we're in, okay. You Okay. Let's say that this is you. And this is your prevailing beliefs. Okay? Let's imagine this as sort of a vice. Okay? Let's say this is a vice. Let me just correct that. Let's say this is your vice. And your we could imagine your false prevailing beliefs as a stick of cigarette. Okay? If you're an active smoker, you've been smoking for years, you're basically addicted to it. Okay? You think that smoking you think that smoking is good for you. So as a result, you will tend to find you will try to seek out information that agrees with that belief that you have of cigarettes. Okay? So what an echo chamber is basically just an environment wherein somebody or something or any source, okay, any source whatsoever is actively reinforcing your own prevailing belief, okay? And the echo chamber doesn't have to have a negative connotation to it. It can actually be positive, okay? It can actually be positive. For example, okay? For people who think that okay? Let's say for example, your belief is racism is wrong. You try to find evidence that this is wrong. Okay? You try to find evidence and any sort of media that reinforces this belief. Okay? That's a good echo chamber because there is a good sort of there is a good benefit to having this echo chamber as opposed to you thinking that cigarettes are good. Okay? So an echo chamber is basically just a subset or is basically closely related to what we call confirmation bias. Now, what is confirmation bias? Okay, confirmation bias is basically you try to find things or media, you tend to navigate or tend to be attracted towards media that already accepts and already agrees with your prevailing belief. That's confirmation bias. Okay? For example, okay, you're having a debate with somebody about abortion. Okay? Let's say uh, let's say you think that abortion is wrong. Let's say you think that abortion is wrong. If you had a confirmation bias, okay, before you even stepped into this debate, you would have researched a lot. Okay, you would have researched a lot on your phone, for example, on why abortion is wrong. Okay, and it only becomes negative. Okay, echo chambers and confirmation biases only becomes negative when you fail to see different viewpoints or different perspectives that doesn't align with yours. Okay? Echo chambers are basically an isolated environment wherein you cannot be exposed, or more often than not, you're not exposed to different viewpoints that typically disagree with your own beliefs. And that can lead to a lot of danger, because if you don't know, okay, if you may have not already known this, the algorithms of social media, basically just give you what you're interested in. Okay, so let's say you're watching YouTube Shorts. Let's say you're watching YouTube Shorts. The content that you're going to see there are the content that you like. Okay, content that you actively subscribe to. And what does that mean? If you inherently like a certain content, a certain type of content, you obviously have to believe or have to agree with that certain content. And algorithms give that content back to you, give similar content back to you, which already agrees or accepts your accepts your interests. Basically, algorithms are curating your feed in order to show you what you already like. Okay, and this is to some extent detrimental, because there could be cases wherein, for example, okay, let's say you're a racist. Let's say you're a racist. You hate some kind of race, any kind of race. Okay, you're actively patrolling social media. You know, you have friends in your group chats who agree with your belief. Okay, that who agree with racism. Okay, and that basically just reinforces your belief more and more, so it basically just is etched and integrated into your own way of thinking, because the information that you consume actively, okay, it actively agrees with your own viewpoint. Okay, so a racist may see a lot of racist content on their social media. They don't think any of it. But as soon as the content switches to anti-racism, okay, all lives matter, Black Lives Matter, they get mad. They don't even try to accept it. They don't even have an open mind to try to comprehend the other side because they've been radicalized into thinking the way that they should be, the way that they are already thinking through echo chambers. Okay? And echo chambers have a sort of relation to a hive mind, what we're going to call the hive mind. So, what are hive minds? Okay? You could imagine a group, let's say, uh, the Teen Titans, I'm running out of examples. Let's say you have the Teen Titans. Okay, what is their goal? Their goal is to combat evil. All right, to combat the bad guys. Fight the bad guys, right? And because of this shared goal, this shared mindset they agree on, instead of being just individuals, they become this sort of collective group wherein the identity is centralized towards this certain goal. Okay? And what I mean by that is let's say Robin, okay? Let's say their leader Robin. They say kill this bad guy. Well, of course, as part of the Teen Titans, this centralized identity, you're going to follow. Okay? You're going to follow. You're most likely going to follow. And the detrimental effects of having a hive mind, of what we call the hive mind, is potentially causing what we call the concept of group think. Okay? Group think. We're in individuals in a group okay they tend to have less critical thinking. They don't think for themselves as much as they would do for this group. Okay? What I mean by that is that any decision, okay, any belief that this group holds, you tend to cultivate it into your own thinking. And that could be detrimental, that could be dangerous, depending on the context. So if you're part of a group of gangsters and their whole goal is to cause trouble in neighborhoods, cause fights in neighborhoods, commit crimes, then you're going to sort of copy that. You're sort of going to copy that norm because that's what's normal to them. And you being part of that group, you're more likely, okay, I'm not saying guaranteed, you're more likely to follow suit. And that's what we call groupthink. That is the effect of having a hive mind. You have less critical thinking for yourself, and you tend to cultivate whatever, anything, any goal that a certain group has. Okay? And this falls under the concept, this group think falls under the concept of tribalism. Okay? If you guys remember, okay, if you guys watched my video, my three-part series on the different forms of government, I mentioned there is a form of government where there is tribalism, but that's not what we're going to talk about. The tribalism that we're denoting here is basically just a concept where you think in tribes, you know, you sort of have beliefs that you already agree upon, and that causes tribes, and that causes like this sort of tribe, this metaphorical tribe, wherein you have extremist beliefs. Okay, where you can. I'm not saying you can. You will. Okay, you can have some extreme beliefs or polarizing beliefs that deviates from the general consensus. And that's dangerous. Because let's say, okay, let's take the racism group. Let's take the racism friend group example again. Okay? Because you're part of the racist tribe, this metaphorical tribe, you're going to isolate yourself. You're going to sort of hold this belief. You're going to hold this belief and reinforce it. Okay? And whoever doesn't agree with you, okay, for lack of a better word, the opposing tribe who doesn't have those beliefs, you would tend to sort of oppose them as well. Okay? And that's what happens in tribalism as a cause of groupthink. Like you could imagine empires, okay? They all have a certain goal. They all have their own individual goals and beliefs and morals and norms and behaviors that doesn't really coincide with the other empire. That's why wars happen between them. And that could be an effect of tribalism. It can induce conflict between groups that have polarizing beliefs. Okay? So that's basically it for my own interpretation of echo chambers, hive mind, the hive mind, groupthink, and tribalism. Okay? So if you enjoyed this video, if you liked it, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, go ahead and give me your feedback. I'll be sure to read it. Okay? So thank you for watching this video. Tune in for the next video.